Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. The market is breaking out, Bitcoin is now making a new high, and we are finally seeing the resolution of this correction. This is where we're about to see a big alt season taking place, altcoins breaking out, flipping a massive bear market bottom in the exact same ways that we did last cycle right before new all-time highs. We're less than 70 days away before our next Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin is running close to those prior all-time highs, and the altcoin market is looking prime for new all-time highs as well. So for today's video, we're going to break it down, explain what charts you need to be paying attention for so that we can make the most money long-term over this cycle. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, here we are to start off today's video, and as you guys can see, Bitcoin is on an absolute tear over here. Breaking out, just about to clear above the range high that we had here going into the ETF. However, if we're talking about our prior analysis, we have successfully broken out of our range high that we had been consolidating at for so long. We have now got a confirmational breakout outside of that, and it does look like this thing is going to be sending it into a much bigger move very soon. If we see a pullback in here, don't be surprised. Overall, something like this to retest this range, maybe even coming back down and retesting the range highs. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, but nonetheless, guys, the strength Bitcoin's showing, ETF, institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity and, ARK Invest and all of these other ones that have been accumulating Bitcoin, you shouldn't really be trying to call tops or do anything like that. The big thing that we need to be doing is holding the whole cycle. We know that our 4-year cycle bottom flashed right here at the end of the year, when we got our lowest low of the cycle right at the end of November. It was exactly 4 years from our last cycle bottom, completing our 4-year cycle and then starting a new one. We know that historically speaking, 4-year cycles are 3 years up, 1 year down. So where we're at right now is about 445 days, just a little over, a year, approaching into that year 2 mark. 2024 is the year that I do think that we're going to be making a move close to those prior all-time highs, and it's looking like that might be the next move that we have coming for us. When we're looking at this, regardless of the consolidation, I believe that we're going to be making a run up to about $60,000 and could very easily come back up to this entire range high, being pretty close to those prior all-time highs. In the short term, we have made a pretty decent move. Is it possible we go straight into a new all-time high? I think anything is possible with this being in the institutional cycle, but in the short term, we do expect that we would see some type of pullback on the way back up. This pullback was a decent one, but it wasn't quite to the extent of, this correction right here. This was 180 days of us kind of going sideways. Altcoins made massive corrections throughout that period, and this one was just kind of a short-term correction before continuation. So when I'm looking at this, I like to come over here and look at the total market cap because it helps to give me a clearer picture as to what the rest of the market is looking like as well. And when we look at the total market cap, all we really did was retest and regain this level. Remember, when we made our first correction after we broke all-time highs, we had this sort of consolidation right here. And this was also the level of support that we held when we initially started breaking down from the all-time high. This was our first lower high to begin that bear market, and this was the level of support that we made. We have been consolidating at this exact same level, more or less just retesting it as support. As we can see, the market has retested this support and we're getting continuation. Now when I look at this, the most obvious area of resistance is going to be the top of this lower high, and that's where I believe that the rest of the market is heading. When I look at Bitcoin, and it kind of looks like it's got this next leg up coming that'll put it pretty close to those prior all-time highs, right around that 60K mark. The total market cap looks like it has this next leg up that's about the same exact size, right? One move up to the top of this lower high, maybe, a little bit higher, but regardless, the top of this lower high at basically $2.19 trillion. That's where I believe that the market of the total market cap is headed, and it's just that we have a little bit of a lagging, ratio because of the altcoins. And when we come over here and look at the altcoin total market cap, this is where things get very exciting because we've talked a lot about our last cycle, our last bear market for those altcoins, and all we're really seeing is the same sort of setup, from a technical perspective, where we had this big bottom formation. We spent 400 or 500 days sort of consolidating inside of here. Peak low to peak low is 455 days. Peak low to the point of us actually retesting this range high as new support and breaking out was 650 days. So coming over here and looking at where we're at today, it's pretty much the same setup. We had this big bottom formation from peak low to, peak low 483 days, from peak low to the bottom of this correction 588. So it wasn't quite as long as maybe our last cycle where we were retesting the breakout point and then going into price discovery, but it's close enough. 50 days, 60 days, it's only a couple months difference. You're talking a 4-year cycle. A couple month difference inside of some price action isn't that much to be worried about. When we're looking at Bitcoin, like I said, April of 2024 this year is our Bitcoin halving. So we're only a couple months away until we actually get to the point of that halving. Historically speaking, looking at every one of our last halvings in our cycles, and our last halving was right here. The price instantly started going into a new all-time high. If we come over here and actually look at 2016, this was when I first got into crypto, was right here at $450. And I actually remember the 2016 Bitcoin halving right here. We made this lower low, but we can see that after the halving, the price instantly went into those new all-time highs, and we saw the biggest part of that cycle. Even going all the way back to the first halving we ever saw, it was pretty much the same sort of thing. That halving was here. The price instantly went into price discovery. And this has been sort of the staple across each and every one of our cycles. In my opinion, it really won't be much different, considering where we're at right now is, relatively the same territory as prior cycles. We're making our first higher highs and higher lows. We're still below prior all-time highs. Yeah, maybe we're front running a little bit, but don't be surprised if Bitcoin runs up here to those prior highs. We see some sort of correction like this before we actually get that new all-time high breakout. Looking at the total market cap, I would expect that once we rally up to this level, we would see some type of correction back down, maybe back down to the same level that we've been consolidating on before, we start making that next big move. This is what I foresee playing out in the market. Higher highs and higher lows, short-term corrections that last 2, 3, 4 months, in duration are totally normal and should be, expected in a lot of ways. Yes, this cycle could take off quicker than maybe some of the prior ones, like it kind of already is. But when we're comparing it to prior cycles, it's not that much of a difference to get super worried about. From level to level, with the altcoins now retesting this level, this major bottom formation, and now breaking out and getting continuation, I think that they're about to start their first major, sort of move, because the altcoins are looking like they've got some sort of a markup like this, a much bigger type of a markup, because Bitcoin has already kind of been impulsing. It's already been leading the way. The total the total market cap doesn't have quite as much room to go to the top of its lower high. So when we're looking at the altcoins, they have a little bit more upside potential, and a lot of that is going to be riding around what happens with the Bitcoin dominance. The Bitcoin dominance has been impulsing over this breakout. Is that going to continue to play out as Bitcoin breaks out over this next move, or are we going to end up seeing this thing topping at this resistance? I'm not sure yet, but at the end of the day, we've talked a little bit about what happens if this thing ends up breaking out, but it ends up being some sort of a fake out, a bear trap, before we end up breaking back down. Similar to what this was right here, because we've been consolidating inside of this sort of resistance and support, this, whatever you want to call it, and we made this false breakout only before starting that, next lower low. I wouldn't be surprised to see something similar in here, considering where we're at is our long-term descending resistance. We do want to see this start to top, and I do think that we will start to see this top relatively soon. Seeing the altcoins, retesting this major breakout in the same way that they did in the last cycle, before they started running into a new all-time high, this was the point where altcoins outperformed Bitcoin the most. So when we're comparing the two, I think that we're right at that same decision point. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bitcoin price, or what I should say the dominance, does in the short term. Are we going to end up breaking out right here? Is this going to be the last sort of exhaustion candle before that reversal sets in? I'm not sure, but we're really at that last sort of, moment before we're going to get that decision. And when I look at the charts, I kind of lean more towards this breaking down, this starting, this new bearish cycle. And this is where the altcoins are really going to start gaining a lot of momentum going into this cycle. So guys, if you found value in this video, make sure you do me a favor, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel to have you guys supporting, have you guys watching these videos, liking. It really does help me out a lot. And I appreciate anybody that watches these channels. We've been making a lot of profit in these markets, early to a number of narratives before they've happened. I've started to get really involved with Pulse Chain because I just see it as such an undervalued, chain in crypto. And when I'm looking at the markets, breaking out, doing these sort of major retests, it gives me a lot of confidence for all of the people that watch this channel, because I know without a doubt we're all about to make a lot of money. I've made it for myself, I've done it for my family, I've done it for my friends, I've helped so many people in crypto make a lot of money, and this is the cycle that's going to be bigger than all of the other ones, because we have institutional adoption than ever before. We have had it going even into our last cycle. but not BlackRock, not all of these major institutional investment corporations across the entire world. These guys are now buying Bitcoin. These guys are now accumulating, other altcoins when they actually launched the Ethereum ETF and all of this stuff. So the amount of upside we're going to see in this cycle, in my opinion, will just dwarf everything else that we've ever seen. In this cycle, we have so many new chains, so many new altcoins built in these chains, and so much money is going to be coming into them that the upside potential just seems to be much bigger than anything we could have possibly seen in the prior cycles. I was early to DeFi Summer, made a lot of money there. I was early to Solana, Phantom, Terra Luna, a lot of these ecosystems as they blew up. And the thing about it is I see still so much more potential in this cycle. The amount of Terra Lunas and Solanas and Phantoms and all of these cryptos that are going to do 1,000x returns, there will be more of them. It will be easier to find them. There will be retail investors piling into these markets like we've never seen before, because the only way that institutions can actually take profits is to have exit liquidity. How do institutions get exit liquidity? By shilling it to the masses, getting retail to funnel all of their money in at the top and get stuck holding the bag at the top. So that's the way I think it's going to play out. If you guys want to end up seeing how I'm personally investing my money over these cycles, any altcoins I'm buying, selling, trading, anything I'm doing with my portfolio long term, especially when I take profits over this cycle, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. From my website, you're going to be able to get lifetime access inside of my group. It's a one-time payment, so once you're in, you're always going to be in. And anything I'm doing with my money, even once I move outside of crypto, when I take my profits at the end of this bull run, you guys are going to be able to follow along with all of it. There's amazing opportunities outside of crypto, amazing opportunities, in crypto, even in the bear market. But I think the big thing is, what are we looking for outside of crypto? How are we going to be able to maximize our fullest potential when crypto dips? How can we actually make more profit trading other markets that aren't going to be dipping? That's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most over the next few years. So if you guys want to check it out and see how I'm going to be doing it, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. Once again, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. I love each and every one of you so much, and I'm just thankful that I get to do this stuff every day, because I know the value of crypto. It's changed my life, it's changed my family and friends' lives, and I most importantly want to see it change your guys' lives in the same way it's done for me and everyone else that I know. Thank you guys so much for the support, and with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.